silver, real estate, notes, private placements, anything out there that the IRS doesn't prohibit, which is basically anything but life insurance and collectibles.
Okay, so now a lot of self-directed IRAs come, like if you went to, for example, I don't know, some brokerage house, they have something called a self-directed IRA, but it's only self-directed IRA within their
Menu.
investments, right? So if they have 5 investments, you can self-direct. You can pick one of those 5 investments, but that's not really a self-directed IRA.
No.
What you do is you basically say, hey, you can take that money and do anything you want with it, anything at all.
Right. You find what you want to invest in. You don't have a broker telling you, buy this stock, buy this mutual fund, etc. So when brokerage houses use that, you have a menu to pick from, what you can do with self-direction. And it really isn't any more diversity than what what they pick for you.
Right. So now if I wanted to invest in real estate with a self-directed IRA, so if let's say I had $500,000 and I wanted to put it into Camaplan, I give it to you, but you don't invest that money. You're just a holding spot, correct?
Yeah, what we do is the paperwork so that it becomes an IRA and you have tax-free income, tax-free rent, or tax-free interest from a note, or capital gains when you go and sell it. So it's just basically an asset, just like a stock or a bond, and your IRA owns it, and whatever it makes goes in there. And if it's a Roth, it's tax-free, and if it's a traditional, it's tax-deferred.
All right, so basically what's happening now is so somebody puts their money into an IRA, they want to buy a house with that IRA, and it's not a house they can live in, correct?
Correct. It has to be investments.
Right. Now, they're also not allowed to touch the money or even touch the house, technically. Like they can't if they start collecting rent, they can't take the rent and put it in their pocket. They have to take the rent and put it into the IRA.
Right, but then they can take a distribution from the IRA if they want to.
And we talked about this earlier, and this is one of my favorite things. I say this all the time. If anybody out there has any money, if you have $1 million, $500,000, $2 million, whatever it is, and you're hitting that age 73, and you have forced to take your required minimum distribution, one of the greatest ways to take your required minimum distribution is to either invest in real estate and collect rent and take that rent back out as your RMD, or lend it to a real estate investor and take that interest or that payment, whatever they give you, and take that back out as your RMD. That way your investment never goes down. It actually stays the same.
Sure, you're not eating the seed corn.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Right, exactly. And the other thing, that was changed is you're now allowed to continue making contributions after you reach the RMD age.
That's insane to me. So,
I don't know. I'm not arguing with it. I can't change it.
Yeah.
I don't have
Right.
the capability, but that was Secure Act 2 allowed people to do that.
When was that passed?
2 years ago.
Okay. So you can actually take your RMDs now and make contributions. Now, are they still tax-deferred contributions if it's a traditional IRA?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you could actually contribute, and at that age you contribute $8,000 this year because it's $7,000 for everyone else, and it's $1,000 catch-up, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I always forget the numbers myself, but I believe it's $7,000 for everyone, and then an extra $1,000 for catch-up
for people over 50.
55, right? So
50.
Oh, 50. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mixed the numbers up because 55 is for HSAs.
Correct. Whatever.
I mix all the ages up.
Your accountant will know it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So anyway, so if they're getting an income, let's say they're getting a retirement income, let's say it's a pension, and they're paying taxes on that pension income, they can now take $8,000, put that into the IRA, and write that off.
Have it tax deferred, right? Have it as a tax deductible contribution.
That's amazing. So now I'm actually starting to think about this. So we always say that Roth IRAs are better than traditional IRAs. Are they now better if you can continue to contribute to your IRA well into your 60s, 70s, and 80s?
Well, the 70s and 80s, I mean, I still like the Roth because there's no tax on it, right? And as you get older, those RMDs get bigger. So let's say you're keeping your seed corn, as I call it, at its same level because you're taking the earnings off of that. But at 115 years old, if you live that long, that distribution is going to be half of what your balance was at the end of the year. So the rent isn't going to cover it.
Right.
At
You
that
have to get
point.
more. You got to get more investments or make more money, but
Correct.
it's still going to cover a lot of it. Hey,
Yeah, if you set your plan up for that, and it depends on where you are and how old you are.
So let's do this because we're, obviously we're very knowledgeable in IRAs and Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs. Let's roll back and, in case some people in the audience who don't fully understand what we're talking about, why don't you describe the difference between a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA?
Okay, pretty simple. When you put money into a traditional IRA, it's deductible, which means it comes off the top number. So if you make $100,000 and you make a contribution of $7,000 this year or $8,000, let's just say $7,000, then you're only going to pay tax on $93,000. Okay. If you make that same $7,000 contribution to a Roth and you made $100,000, you're still going to pay the tax on that $100,000.
Right.
But when you pull that money out in 5, 10, 15 years, 20, 30 years from now, on the traditional account, you're going to pay tax on every bit of that money you pull out, the contribution as well as the earnings. If you do that with a Roth, you're going to pull out that money with zero tax. So I love zero tax.
Yeah, me too.
Right. So, and that's on your contributions because you've already paid those taxes. But more importantly, it's on all the earnings. So if 10, 15, 20 years, you double your money, you made all that tax free. So and you don't know on your traditional IRA, what's the tax rate going to be when you pull that out in 5, 10, 15 years from now?
Yeah, it's kind of silly. They always used to say that your tax rate's going to be lower when you're older, and that's why you should put money into an IRA, but it's really not that true.
Well, right. One is you're supposedly not making as much, but who wants to set up a plan for that?
Yeah, right.
And two, you have no idea what tax rate the government's going to put you in. You could be in the 92% tax rate when Kennedy was president, and not many people think you're going to be in the 28% one.
I always love talking about the 92% tax rate. So, because people don't understand how taxes are actually calculated, which is funny. Like, so when you said before, somebody making $100,000, they're not actually paying the first level of $100,000. They're actually the first $13,800 is tax free.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're not paying full taxes on $100,000. But it used to be the 92% tax rate or 97% tax rate?
92, yeah.
It used to be anything above $1 million.
Right.
So everybody knew how to hide that money, and they never paid it anyway, which I always found funny. But that's okay. It's just kind of interesting, the conversations that we have about taxes, because I'm going to say that 90% of the people in America have no idea how their taxes are calculated. I find it funny. I'll ask people.
Well, only 50% of them pay income tax.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah.
Only 50%.
Do you know why?
No.
So here's the reason. The reason between the minimum standard deduction, which is $13,800 per person, or double that. What's that? $27,600
for a household.
Per family, per husband and wife.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't even have to pay taxes or file a tax return. Those people. So they don't even need to. Right. Then you've got people who just are ignorant and just don't make enough money that the IRS cares.
Wait, the 13,000. First of all, we need to make it clear that for us, it can be a husband and husband. It doesn't have to be a husband and wife. Now, my question to you is: the 13,000 has to be net or gross?
No. It's gross.
It's gross.
Right. So net would be after you pay taxes. Gross is gross.
No, but gross is also before expenses.
No. You're talking about business owners. We're talking about people with an average job. Maybe they work at Wendy's and they make $15 an hour.
Yeah, I understand.
Right.
They still have expenses like benefits, like the kids and all that, right?
No, yeah. You're going into a different direction that we're talking about. But that's okay. It's actually a great topic for another time.
Okay.
And don't bring it up again today.
Okay, sure.
Because I know you'll bring it up 5 minutes again from now.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
All right. I also want to do this. I want to give out the phone number. I'm hoping it'll work. I can't. I don't know if
we have
Natasha
people
will just have to
yeah.
tell me that somebody's on the line. 855-939-1137 is our phone number.
Correct.
855-939-1137. 855-939-1137 is our phone number.
And
you
call
can
just to
call
make sure if
and
it works.
Yeah, you want to make sure it works. Sure. Exactly. But you can also call and ask us questions about IRAs, traditional IRAs, how to buy real estate with your IRA, how to lend money with your IRA, and it's great. So all right. So let's go back to Camaplan. So I always find this interesting, Carl, about your company. So if somebody buys a house with their IRA, right, you don't make any money on that.
No, we don't get a commission or anything.
Right. You only make money on a service fee.
Correct.
And the service fee that you're charging for is to make sure that it's IRS compliant.
And do the IRS reporting and provide a portal, et cetera, for the people and give them a statement just like Merrill and any other brokerage house.
Right. So they're giving you a statement. They're doing all this work for you. They're making sure it's compliant. You have a staff of a whole bunch of people now, right? How many people?
For operations, we're about 25.
25 people. So think about this, right? So you give Carl, and it doesn't matter how much you give him. It could be $100,000, it could be $50,000, it could be $2 million, it could be $20 million. It doesn't matter.
Every year.
And he doesn't make any money on how much money you give him. He makes money on the reporting. So he basically charges for the reporting. And how much do you charge a year for that?
On the transactions. We have two ways. One is based on the number of assets you have. So if you had $1 million house, we would charge $300. If you had $1 million house and $100,000 house, you'd have two assets, and we'd charge $600 for that.
So per asset, it's because you have to do reporting on each asset, correct?
Sure.
Right.
We have to do reporting on the cap. Plus, it's work for us.
Right.
Right. We have to be there at the closing, sign the paperwork, collect the interest or the rent payments, whatever it is.
So $300 a year.
That's it.
$300. And I always look at Carl and go, Carl, how can you possibly, feed 25 people in your company with $300 a year?
And going on a cruise.
Yeah, obviously, it's low margin,
right?
But we have high volume,
right?
So there's thousands of people that do this.
That's amazing.
It is.
It's absolutely amazing. So it's incredible.
People like to invest in what they know and understand, and if they're in real estate or hard money lending, or they like certain private placements, that's great.
So 855-939-1137. 855-939-1137 is our phone number, and if you want to call in, you can. We'll try to. Hopefully, we'll get connected to Natasha, and we'll be able to connect you guys to us, because this is a fascinating subject. And you got people there, especially on this station. You got the average person in this station is probably in their 60s, right? And if you're 20-year-old listening to this station, good for you. You'll probably get better knowledge than listening to some of those other dopey stations. But the average person in listening to the station is in their 60s-ish, right? Maybe more. And these people have IRAs. They have traditional IRAs. They have Roth IRAs. And they don't quite know what to do with this money. And we talk about it all the time. We talk about, you can lend it to a real estate investor. By the way, I always like to just real quickly put a disclaimer. I'm not looking for your money. I don't care. We do borrow money from people's IRAs. We do borrow money from their Roths and their traditional IRAs, but I'm not soliciting for money. I'm educating on what we do, because I want to be really clear that this is not a solicitation for money. It's even Carl's not a solicitation for money. It's just he's here to explain what you can do, and we recommend Camaplan. I'll tell you the number one reason we recommend Camaplan, because I know Carl. So I know when if I have a problem, I can call Carl, or I can call his son Ryan, and I can say, "Hey, I got a problem. Can you solve it?" And it's mostly you want to know whose fault it is most of the time?
Me.
No, mine. Like 98% of the time, I call Carl or Ryan. They're like, "Yeah, because you didn't do this." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's my fault. Sorry." Because I've never actually seen them. Not be able to work something out. Their paperwork is simple, but I hate paperwork. So I'll fill out something wrong, and then I'll call them up and say, "Hey, I filled this paperwork wrong," or something. So that's why we recommend Camaplan. By the way, when you come to investor schooling, one of the things that you're going to know is we recommend a lot of people, and almost never do we make any commission on anyone we recommend. Like Carl won't give me any money. I don't even want it, to be honest with you. If he's only getting $300, what am I going to get? Right? It's like I won't get any money from Carl for referring him, even when we talk about some of the other people who come to investor schooling.
But your clients do
make
a savings because we give them
of course.
a reduction. if they
Oh,
come
yeah,
from
that's
you
right. I
guys.
forgot about that. That's right. Right. We take off the initial fee, right?
The application
Right.
fee.
And the application fee is how much normally?
$75.
And now if they do go through us, it's how much?
25, I think. I
Okay,
don't
so
know the
yeah,
exact
yeah,
one.
you don't even know either anymore. I know.
You
So-
save $50.
Yeah, so you save $50 in your application fee, and it's funny because it's we're talking about millions of dollars here. We're going to save you $50 anyway, but it is what it is. But the idea is we trust these people. We teach how to invest money with your IRA, how to use your traditional IRA, how to create a self-directed IRA and make money. Now you've had some people that have become clients of yours that have really crushed it in some businesses. They took their IRA money and put it into businesses, correct?
Some have, yep. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, most of the people are buying real estate. And when I say real estate, that can be raw land. It could be a commercial retail spot. It could be multifamily if you're doing it through a private placement. Other people have turned their IRAs into mini banks and lent money to real estate investors, such as yourself or other people out there, or put their IRAs together and bought a property, did a joint venture. So there's all kinds of strategies and ways for people to do it. But I do want to tell you that Ryan has left the company and is out doing his own work. But our staff will take good care of any of our clients.
Well, I'll ask for you for now and then.
Say it again.
I'll ask for you for now and then.
Yeah, they're great. No, but feel free. If you don't, if our staff can't answer it, all those questions go to me.
They always answer.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
I
if they
haven't called you guys probably in 2 years with a question.
Yeah.
It was in the beginning, the first couple I did, years ago. First couple I did. So I actually pay a lot of money to Camaplan every month because I'm not paying it to you. I'm actually paying it to the IRA holders, but it goes to you. And then you distribute it to their IRA.
Right. It goes into their IRA account when you mail it to us.
Right. So it's really neat. So, by the way, if you guys want to learn how to invest in real estate using your IRA, or if you want to find out what you should do with your IRA, I mean, this is just general conversations. 855-939-1137 is our phone number. 855-939-1137. You can call in now. Hopefully we'll be able to get through. 855-939-1137. Give us a call. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions on how to do IRAs. So I have a question for you, Omri.
Go.
How old are you?
I am 38.
Do you have an IRA yet?
No, not yet. So this is going to be the first year for me to do an IRA.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could actually go back and go for last year too. You can contribute for last year too.
What do you mean?
If you open up your account before April 15th and make a contribution, it'll go for 2023.
Really?
Yeah, so
and
you
then
can still
do
backdate
another one for 2024. So if you want to, you can put 6,500 in for 2023 and then 7,000.
I love America.
Why?
Because the laws are very pro the people.
You think so?
I do.
I don't disagree with you. I just find it interesting that, we were talking about this earlier. So Carl, I was having a sidebar conversation before we came on the air when we talked about being able to still contribute. The tax laws were written for the rich. And once you understand them, and we teach a lot of them, once you understand them, you realize that, it's the middle class who's ignorant that pays the most taxes.
It's the education.
Education, that's it.
Yeah.
It is the education.
Right,
So
you need to learn.
if you get all your papers and you throw it at your accountant and you don't understand why you pay so much taxes without even understanding what are your deductions, I blame the person.
Who? The person or the accountant?
No,
The
the
person.
person,
Right? Yeah, I agree with you.
not the accountant.
Right.
Because there are many accountants there. Everybody know their own laws and rules. And yeah, we have a lot of accountants that are just before retirement. My worker, Chino, just showed me his tax return. And I was amazed. Like, where's your truck?
Oh,
Where's your
really?
time? Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. And I said, okay, I hope it's not filed yet. This is a draft. Throw it to the garbage, and we start all over.
Who's he filing with the H&R Block?
I don't know who. I don't know who. He has a guy that, of course, speaks Spanish, so it helps him.
Right.
But apparently he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's paying a lot in taxes,
Wow.
which he shouldn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'll help you look at that too.
we all need
So-
to understand that.
So
Yeah.
Omri has a small contracting business. He has a guy. His first name is Chino, And he does a lot of work for me. He does a lot of work for Omri. Does a lot of work for some of the students. He's actually nice business moving up.
Mm-hmm.
But Omri pays him a salary. So he pays him a W-2 salary.
He's on a paycheck, yeah.
And he's got a whole bunch of expenses that he should be able to put in. He actually should form his own corporation, and you should pay him
1099. Maybe, yeah.
That would give
Well,
him
I
more
mean,
deductions.
somebody should be looking at this, but where do they teach that? Right?
Right.
I mean,
investor schooling is one place, but
Exactly.
nowhere.
I went to an Ivy
Nowhere.
League college, and they
Yeah.
didn't teach me that.
Right.
And I've learned more talking to practitioners and going to places like the investor schooling to learn those types of
Laws,
strategies,
Yeah.
laws, and the way to count it.
When I found out all the things that people don't know about money, it amazed me. I wrote a book on it.
And that's exactly
It's called
yeah.
Money Hacks, right? And it's a book that talks all about because people don't know anything about money.
Yes.
One of the things that amazed me the most is the fact that I have two children that I can hire for the business.
Yes.
So many people listen to that right now and they said, no way, you can't hire a 7-year-old. You need to come to investor schooling and understand that this is completely legal.
So now you're legal. So you could actually hire them for how much? $13,800,
A year,
and they won't pay tax on that. We talked about that earlier.
of course.
They won't pay taxes on that because they don't even have to file a return. Interestingly enough, if you have a business, which is how you're hiring them, you can write that off as salary. I'm sorry, salary paid to the kids.
Yes, correct.
Right? So
But
now
you may
get
have to pay,
deduction.
you may have to pay Social Security and
Yeah,
Medicare.
right. You get right, exactly. You have to pay.
On their name.
Under their name, yes.
Okay.
It's a little bit, yeah, but it's just a little bit of money. It's not much, especially if it's $13,000.
Yeah, it's 15%, something like
Right,
that,
so
I think.
Exactly.
that's really, really small.
Yeah,
So you're paying that, and
Better
then,
than yours.
right.
exactly, yeah.
And now the really interesting thing is you take that $13,800 and you open up a Roth IRA
For them.
for them. $6,500, $7,000 this year.
And if they want to use it for their education, because it's a Roth IRA, they can.
You've been
Some
paying
of it.
attention to class.
Sometimes.
Yeah, some of it they can use.
They could use the
What
Roth
is some-
IRA.
Some of it.
What do you mean some of it?
They can't take out the earnings,
Okay.
but
They can take the
use all-
principal.
They can take all the principal out.
Okay,
yeah.
but not
and
the
then
earnings.
$10,000 worth of earnings.
Okay. And they can keep saving there until they will retire
Yep.
under the
Right.
same
And then
Roth
the other
IRA.
thing, too,
Yeah.
is remember that you gave them that money tax deductible to your business, right?
Mhm.
So now you opened an account with them. So you put $6,000 or $7,000 into it. You have $5,800 left. Now you use that $5,800 to buy their clothes, or their bicycle, or their toys, and you're basically buying their toys and their bicycle and their things.
From their own money.
No, from money that you tax deducted out of your business.
I know.
This is great stuff. I love this stuff.
So I do have a question about that.
Sure.
I think we discussed that before, mainly with Dr. Dab. Does I need to put them on a payroll, and can they be like a 1099?
Better to put, it got to be payroll. It can't be 1099. But you want to put them on a payroll, and you want to actually hire a payroll company to do it. The only reason you want to do that is so the IRS ever comes back to you and says, "Did you really do this?" You can prove you did.
So the thing about that is, if I'm putting them on a payroll, right, now I need to pay for them workers' comps, which I don't even know how to describe the position to the insurance
That's
company.
an interesting point. Yeah.
It's an interesting point, I know.
But you could
Medicare,
get
Social
I
Security.
believe you can
Yeah.
get workman's comp. You can get exclusion for family members. 'Cause
Okay.
I had that.
I need to
And
check
also,
that.
Also,
It's
unemployment
it's
insurance.
small anyway. You
Also
know, if they're
unemployment
doing
insurance.
if they're doing
Like
office
5% those days, yeah.
work. Workman's comp.
Yeah. Depend on the position, actually. Yeah,
If
it
you're,
depend on
if
the
you're a
position.
roofer, it's bad.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a administrative person in the office, it's not.
Okay,
That
I need
depends
to
on
check
what the
that,
state
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
And then the other one is you can also do an educational savings account, which all the earnings and the contributions can be taken out to pay for any schooling up until they're 30 years old.
So you're talking about a
Coverdell
Thank you. Yeah, it's or what's it called ESA.
Coverdell ESA.
Yeah,
Right.
which is funny because education savings account is what it's called,
Right.
and they call it a Coverdell just to confuse you.
Or a CISA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just to confuse you, right? Which I never understood because it's like it's just simply an education savings account.
Right. Works like a Roth for
Right.
education.
Right, exactly.
I'm very worried.
Why?
So it's 10:38 right now.
Yes,
Do you know what time we are off air?
I'm not worried about it. Don't worry about it.
When the music starts.
I'm past. I'm past the
old
problems this
scenario
morning.
here, yeah.
I want to keep doing the show. You know what I mean? I got Carl here. He's a great guy, and I want to.
Finally, we have a show about money.
We have a show about money. Yeah, there we go. So all right. So,
Well, I flew up last night just to be here, Larry.
I know you flew in.
Right.
So listen, this is what I want you to do. I want you to give me. You flew first class, right?
I did.
All right, good. I want you to give me the tickets, the price of tickets, and I'm going to send it to PHT.
Okay.
Good.
All right, and they're going to reimburse us.
Good.
Great.
All right.
Good.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. We'll go out to dinner.
Yeah. Dinner. We'll go. Yeah, exactly. Right.
So you flew up first class. The plane took off at the time he was supposed to take off?
He went from Florida to Pennsylvania.
No.
He didn't
it
take
didn't?
off at the time.
No, it did not.
So I have a question for you about that because we had an experience this week, me and him. Because the flight was delayed and you were on the plane, I guess, right?
Yeah. I don't want to tell you the whole story, but yeah.
No, I want to hear the story.
Well, we have a whole story
Have-
too. So we were supposed to buy a
have
mobile
you-
home park
yeah.
last week that we got delayed till next week because we couldn't get there.
Have you been served food and drink while you were on the ground?
No. No, drink I have.
He's in first class. He gets all the drinks he wants.
Yes, drink I
Drink,
have.
but not food yet.
No, but
No
they would
food.
they would have brought him cookies if he asked.
Okay, good.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you
you
can't
could-
do that in Maine. You can do that in first class.
Yeah, only first class, I know.
Right.
Yeah, so Larry will tell the story.
All right. So now we got to go off on another tangent, right? But it was funny because I wanted to do this all in the intro today. I wanted to talk about all this
You
stuff.
went in first
you
class.
might as well
yeah,
talk about it, right?
You-
So I always fly first class, always, because I just don't want to deal with it. I want the bigger seats. I want to be comfortable. I like getting my drink. Just the fact that I've come this far. I want to also enjoy it, right? So I'm always, and we're going to buy this mobile home park. We're supposed to close on Wednesday, so we're flying up Tuesday. So what happens Tuesday is a major snowstorm or a minor major snowstorm, whatever it was. So 4:00 in the morning, I wake up. I look at the. I check the flight. Flight's still good. 5:00, check the flight, still good. I got to pick him up at 6. I'm on my way to pick him up. I check the flight's still good. We get to the airport. We get to the airport. I go through pre-check. 45 minutes later, he comes through not pre-check. So I made him get pre-check this week, but that's another story. We get together. We go up to the lounge, the Admirals Club, American Airlines Admirals Club. We have a nice, enjoyable breakfast, right? Then we go down and we get on the plane, and we I didn't buy first class this time because, Omri's like, stop buying first class. You're spending all our money because we have this pot of money to buy this mobile home park, and obviously this is his own business. And he's like, stop spending all this money.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll fly economy just for you. So we squish ourselves into these seats, right? So there's somebody else sitting next to Omri. He's in the middle. I'm in.
They became smaller.
They were definitely
sure
smaller.
they became
Right.
smaller.
So we squish ourselves into the seats, and they load the plane. And all of a sudden, the pilot gets on the phone and gets on the intercom and says, "We can't move because the loader that loads the luggage is stuck in the snow." And I'm like, really? I mean, come on. You can't take 5 of those guys downstairs just to push this thing out of the way? I mean, how big is the loader? The loader's smaller than a car.
We volunteered to go down off the plane and push it.
Yeah, we did. So they finally pushed the loader. An hour later, they finally pushed the loader out of the way. Right then, we start. He goes, okay, we're gonna back up. We start to taxi, and we're taxiing, and I'm like,
We're getting
this
to
is
the
taking-
runway.
This is taking a really long time to taxi. So I open up the visor, I look out the window, and I see the gate. We're heading back to the gate. So now that was another half an hour to make this big circle around the runway, back to the gate, back to the gate.
Over 2 hours
We're
on
in-
the plane.
We're
yeah.
in the plane for an hour and a half now, and and we always call Omri the immigrant, right? Because he self-proclaimed his name as the immigrant. So I put on Facebook, first time I don't fly first class, I'm stuck sitting next to an immigrant. So Facebook lights up. Facebook goes crazy because of what I said, because they think I'm insulting immigrants, right? So you got anything from people going, throw the guy off the plane to take him to New York and drop him off. So that was a kind of a
There was
sidebar.
something about why they are not crossing
Right.
from Mexico.
Yeah,
why
well,
they
yeah,
come
right.
on
So
a
that
plane.
was- So that, I mean, people actually called me a racist because I said I'm sitting next to an immigrant. They're like, who cares if you're sitting next to an immigrant? No, you don't know the inside joke. The inside joke is we call him the
Of
immigrant.
course, yeah.
Right. So anyway, we were on the plane. They pull up into the gate, and the pilot comes on and goes, one of our generators died, and we're not sure if it's a good idea to take off. Obviously, it's not a good idea to take off. So we sit in the plane another 20 minutes, and he finally says, everybody off the plane. We'll see if we can fix it. So we wait for 3 hours in the airport for them to fix it, And every hour we get a notice that says it's now boarding, it's now boarding, it's now boarding, and we get there and it's not boarding.
While there is no plane,
Right.
and the pilot just left to Home Depot to buy a generator.
Yeah, I went to Home Depot, right. So finally they canceled the flight and we went home and so now we had to reschedule.
Yeah.
We haven't bought, we had to close in the mobile home park this week. So of course I put down on Facebook, I put down, flights canceled, now I have to drive the immigrant home. And people were like, oh, that's so nice of you to drive somebody home. I'm like, you don't understand, this is the guy I came with. But I just thought it was very funny.
All the people that are so much against racism turn up to be very racist.
Don't they?
I
know, it's very interesting. It's kind of a strange
And yesterday
phenomenon.
we went for the TSA pre-check interview, okay? And the guy in the interview read my visa and say immigrant. And of course I'm not getting an insult. That's what state in my
He's an immigrant. I mean, Carl, were you an immigrant or were your parents immigrants?
My grandfather.
Good.
Yeah, so we're all immigrants. Right?
Someone was immigrant.
I mean,
That's the nation.
not all of us speak with that accent, though.
No.
Give the phone number out so we could turn people on.
Someone will actually answer them?
Probably not.
Okay. It's 855-939-1137. Again, it's 855-939-1137. Kimi, you are welcome to call us just to check if it's actually working today.
855-939-1137. You want to call about IRAs? If you want to call
The
in
immigrant.
and just call the immigrant and ask them to tell the phone number, we can.
We should.
I didn't do any commercials today because I'm not sure if they know how to do it at the station, so we're just going to keep going. All right, so Carl, let's get back to you. Right, I want to get
Well,
back
one
to
thing I do want to tell you,
Sure.
if any of your flights are on those Boeing Maxes,
Yes, it
they're
was.
pulling them offline.
737.
The Boeing Max. I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure
yeah.
which.
No,
one
so
that-
there's a
yeah.
37. There's a 737. Then there's 3 different versions of a 737. The 737 Max
Is the one that
was the one that they had 2 crashes when
I think so. Yeah, and they basically have changed some of my flights. And I don't know what they've changed them to, but I'll go back and look.
So I was pretty sure they fixed all of them,
So
no?
it's not the Max.
Well, they're taking them off and fixing them supposedly.
So the Max
Now?
was
or
faster.
checking them. Yeah.
Right. So here's what happened. So the Alaska Airlines, the door popped off. The door plug popped off. You know about that?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were mid-flight. One of the doors just released itself
In the middle.
in the middle of flight.
Yeah. And just so you know, those masks did come down, so they're really there.
And the nice thing about that too is you had to make sure you took your mask off to put the mask on.
Finally a mask that actually do something.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that door came off, and then they started checking a bunch of other 737s. Which, by the way, that was a plane that we were on. We were on a 737.
I know.
And we're scheduled to get on the same exact plane, the same exact number, on Tuesday. So we'll see. Maybe they may move it. So the 737.
But now it's a first class.
Now it'll be first class. So at least we'll get to drink. Yeah.
If it takes off.
If
If it takes off, right? Yeah.
I told him, he argued with me because when we scheduled the flight, I said, let's go Frontier. And he's like, I don't want to go Frontier. And I said, listen, you don't get it. With Frontier, you always take off. Sometimes you're not landing, but you always take off.
Actually, luckily, it's the opposite. Most of the time, I like Frontier and Spirit. Oh, no. I did Frontier once. I did Spirit once. I'm like, no.
Spirit,
not
I
for
can
me.
go. I can go
Not
Spirit.
for me. All right. So anyway, so where are we? So
I have done Frontier because they have straight through flights to a lot of places.
Okay.
Yeah. So funny. I had to do Spirit one time because I had to go back from Las Vegas to Los Angeles really early in the morning, and it was the only flight. And it wasn't terrible. It was just that the trying to check in was impossible.
Okay.
That was the part I had a problem with. Where American Airlines, I just walk up to the priority service thing and boom, 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 I'm in. I'm on my plane in 10 minutes. Where Spirit, you walked in, there was a line. I couldn't believe how long the line was to check in.
Yeah.
So that was where I just didn't know. How
And it
Spirit
cost
works.
money.
Yeah, well, everything costs money.
Yeah.
The longer you stay in the line, the more money it costs you. They give you a meter and they charge you 5 cents a minute or something.
Inflation.
Yeah, and if you want air, that's another cost.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, right. so we only have 10 minutes to talk about you and Camaplan, and I want to get back to you because
Great.
this is all about you, Carl.
All right.
Because every time we have you, something goes wrong.
I know I'm starting to get a complex.
That's why we invited guests, just to be able to blame someone.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I wasn't here one day and the microphone got disconnected. I wasn't here. and I was still blamed for disconnecting the microphone.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing. I sat down and my microphone just unplugged itself.
Right while you were there?
As soon as I started the show. Like we did the radio check before, and the second I started the show, the microphone unplugged itself. It was the weirdest thing. I don't know, anyway.
Ghosts.
Yeah, gremlins.
Gremlins.
Yeah, gremlins.
Tommy.
Right. All right. So getting back to the Camaplan. So there's all kinds of things you can do. So you can do a Roth IRA, you can do an IRA, and I also do something called an HSA, which is a health savings plan. Now,
those are my favorite.
I know, but people don't even know about these.
Tax
things.
deductible going in and tax-free coming out.
Right. Well, they're not completely tax-free going out. So
well, if they're for medical expenses, they're tax-free.
So one of the cool things is I always talk about my $900 glasses that I'm wearing, and the whole what happened was I had a pair of glasses and I got a dog, right? And when I got a dog, you get a puppy, and
dog
they chew everything.
Glasses.
And my dog ate my glasses, so I had to go to lens crafters.
I've seen kids like you in school.
Yeah, not my homework, my glasses. Yeah. So I go to lens crafters, and I had to go to lens crafters, and I had to get another pair of glasses. I had to get one in a hurry, and I pick out these lenses of this frame that's some name brand. I don't even know what it is, right? And I really liked them. And when I was all done, it was $960 for my glasses, and I'm like, holy cow! But I bought them anyway. Now, most of you guys would be smart enough not to spend $960, but most of you guys can't write off that $960 in glasses. I can. And the reason I can is because I have an HSA. Now, the interesting part about that is I'm not even going to write it off because that was 3 years ago. I didn't write it off then. I'm going to write it off when I'm 65. When I take my money out of my HSA, and then I give all the receipts for all the money that I've spent for all my medical expenses for the last 10 years, and each dollar that I put in that I actually get a tax deduction for, this year I get the tax deduction for it. I don't have to pay that tax deduction back when I take the money back out, because all I have to do is show the receipts.
Exactly. I take a credit card just for medical expenses. I buy everything on that credit card. The credit card gives me a statement at the end of the year, and then you just add those up every year, and minimizes your bookkeeping.
Now, there are some companies that actually have a tracking system, and I don't even know how they make any money, because they don't charge me anything for this.
Wait,
tracking system.
I don't get what you just mentioned. So right now, you are buying the glasses from your own money,
right?
But you keep the receipt,
right?
So there is no tax deduction for this year,
right?
There is only tax deduction when you pull the money from your HSA,
right? So you need to understand.
No. When he puts money into his HSA this year, he gets a deduction. He'll put $3,000 or $7,000 into his
and
HSA.
that depends.
I think it's $7,800.
$7,800, right? He gets that deduction no matter what.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now it's deductible. Now, if he wanted to take that $960 out this year, he could and pay no tax on it.
From the 7,800,
right.
Or from money that is there from previous years,
right? Exactly.
Or from the note that he lent that out, and the interest is coming back into.
Now, did you hear what he just said? That's the key. You can use your HSA just like an IRA. You can buy houses with it. You can lend money to other people. You can invest in corporations with it, and you can make your HSA grow really big, and then you only have to pay taxes on whatever medical expense you don't have.
So, if there is tax deduction on your HSA, every year you contribute to your HSA, there is a tax deduction.
Right.
You say that you will need to pay tax on this money when you retire?
No. You'll never pay tax on it if you take it out.
As long as you have medical expenses.
As long as you have medical expenses.
Right. So if you have, from let's say if you start your HSA now, from age 38, right, and you put this money in every year, and you got to make sure you save your receipts though for all this time. That's the key. You got to have a system that saves your receipts. He was saying he uses one credit card, which is very smart.
Also, the health insurance.
Not your health insurance.
Not health insurance.
Aren't your health insurance premiums are not
deductible. Okay.
Here's something interesting. Most things that people are not deductible for or not applicable to health insurance or not deductible are deductible in your HSA. Gym memberships are deductible in your HSA. Vitamins are deductible in your HSA. It's
anything.
Chiropractors are deductible.
Right, and travel to and from
the doctors.
To the doctors, to the gym, right, and for your kids and your wife. as long as you're paying, up to age 26 for your kids. So you keep that record the whole time.
Okay.
And then you get to take the deductions. You're 38, so in 25 years, if you want that, you go and you say, here's all my receipts.
Yeah.
And I want that money, and I'm going to go buy a Harley or a car or a vacation. Or
And
a pool.
what about the rest of the money in the HSA? I'm getting only the amount that I have receipts for.
No, you
Let's
can get it all.
Okay.
If you let's say you had 50,000 in your account,
Okay.
and you only had receipts for 45,000.
Great.
And you took the 50 out. You have to take the 5,000. You have to pay taxes on the 5,000.
Only on the
Only
5,000.
right?
And
Yes.
only on the profit over the 5,000.
No.
Over
All
the
of it.
principal
All
too?
of it. Yeah, because
you
deducted
didn't
it.
get a deduction.
Okay, I understand.
I mean,
Okay.
because you didn't pay tax on it.
No,
You got
I
a
was pretty
deduction.
sure, like the IRA, that once you take the money when you retire at a certain age, there is no tax anyway. You said with an HSA that there is a tax when you take it after retirement.
Well,
Only if you don't have
The receipts.
right.
I understand.
Exactly.
Okay.
but when you say when you retire with your IRA,
Yeah.
it has to be a Roth for no tax.
Correct.
Traditional, there is.
I know.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
I want to
I
do
know.
this because this is the stuff we teach at investor schooling. I mean, I mean,
And
I
that's why
love
you
this
get a
stuff.
deduction
Right.
because we
I
don't have
didn't
to
know.
spend as
Yeah, I
much
really
time.
didn't know.
I love this stuff because investor schooling is just amazing. When we teach this stuff, we teach real estate, we teach stock options, we teach stock market. We did a whole thing on the stock market on Thursday. We explained how the stock market works.
For the basic,
right.
yeah. A
And
lot
it-
of people don't know.
And everybody says, ask me, well, which account should I have? The answer is
All of them.
How many can
Right.
you have?
All of them,
Yeah.
exactly. You should have every single account. I mean, there's so many things we could talk about. We could talk about SEPs. We could talk about simples. Yeah,
Solo
there's so many
401ks.
different ways that we
Right.
talk about this stuff, and we have Carl come in and talk about them too.
So I
Cash
do have
balance
another
funds.
question for Carl before we finish. We talked about when you have health insurance and your deductible is over a certain amount of money. I think when your deductible is over 1,500.
A high deductible.
Yeah, but what is a high deductible?
It's 1,500 now.
I
The
think it is
1,500?
1,500
Yeah.
this year. It changes every year.
So if your deductible is 1,500, what's the benefit you get?
It's called
You can do an HSA.
You can do a health savings account where you can put the money in ahead of time, get a deduction for that year. Now, if you wanted to let's say you had an operation and you needed that money.
Yes.
You can take it back out. It's available to you 24/7. You can take it out and spend it for that year. Let's say you lost your job or something and you needed health costs for things, for doctors, et cetera. You
Yeah.
could take that money out and use it.
That's amazing. So and do you still have the benefit that before April 15 you can still deposit for an HSA for previous year?
If you had an HSA.
No, if I didn't?
If you didn't, no.
No. Okay.
You
So
have
this
to
year-
have the HSA, but you can look at where you get your insurance. Ask the guy if it's an HSA plan, if it's a high
Deductible
high
plan.
deductible.
And what's the benefit of this plan again? When you get a high deductible plan, HSA plan?
Well, it used to be cheaper.
Okay.
Was
true.
one, and I don't know if it still is or not because I got forced onto Medicare. But it used to be cheaper, and the other one is you're allowed to contribute to a health savings account, which gives you a deduction in that money that year. So, I mean, I think everybody should have high deductible HSAs because you get that deduction no matter what, whether you're going to save it
Yeah,
for
that's
later
what it
or you're
sounds.
going to use it for this year.
Amazing.
All right, cool. I love it. All right, so real quick, so we got. I'm not sure how much time we have. I think we have 2 minutes left.
Let's continue as much as we can.
No, that's fine. let's do this. So real quick. So if somebody wants to open up a IRA with Camaplan and invest in other things besides the traditional stuff, how's the best way to reach you?
Camaplan.com is our website. You can schedule an appointment there. And again, if the people that pick up your appointment can't answer your questions, just ask them, say, hey, can I have a call with Carl? And you'll do it. But Camaplan.com or call our office number, 215-283-2868. 215-283-2868.
And of course, you can come to Investor Schooling and learn how to do this. That's the key. learn how to do it. Once you learn how to do it, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You could make 8, 10, 15, 20, whatever. I mean, you can. I'm not telling you will.
I was pretty sure I knew all that.
Money
yeah.
on your IRAs and your Roth IRAs, your traditional IRAs, and you can invest in anything you want. The greatest thing is investing in real estate because, especially with an IRA, you've got lots of time to invest in real estate. You should be putting in, as of this year, and actually you should backdate next year from last year, you should be putting in the maximum. You should do it in a Roth IRA, putting in the maximum, and do it immediately.
I am. I'm
right?
going to, yeah.
And then we'll talk about where to put that money. There's a couple of different places to put it. We're kind of out of time, but I have all kinds of cool strategies that I use for people that put money into the IRA through Camaplan, invest in certain places. When it builds to a certain number, you then put that into real estate or a loan, and then you use that extra income to invest some more. But I can't get into it now because I think we have 15 seconds left.
Okay.
So I want to tell everybody to go to investorschooling.com. That's investorschooling.com, and come see us. I'm Larry Steinhouse. We were talking to Omri Morad, my co-host, and of course Carl Fisher from Camaplan. I want to thank you again for coming out, Carl. I want to thank you for Natasha for making sure we got on the air, even if we got on late. We got on the air, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. Investorschooling.com.
Thanks, Larry.
I think we're still on the air.
We are still on the air.
Yeah, I think we're still on the air.
Good.
All right.
Great.
So let's talk about the Yankees.
This is Larry Steinhouse with Investor Schooling. Are you afraid of the Great Reset? Well, the Great Reset won't apply to those who own real assets. At Investor Schooling, we teach you how to
Are
own
we
real
off?
assets
I have
like
no
real
idea.
estate, gold, silver, and other investments